Good afternoon. This is Indian time for Wednesday, May 4th. I'm Jessica McBride, Media Coordinator for Muskogee Media, here with Gary Fife, our radio host for Muskogee Radio. Couple of things. We'll keep today's session short. We've just posted the latest health story. This is part 4. It's titled Fractured Finances. Health Governing Board discusses lack of financial transparency. And this goes over the planning session that the National Council held with the health board, the health governing board, and we've pulled some quotes from there. There is audio of the planning session, and that link is available in the story, so if you'd like to listen to it, that link's available, and you can read the story and then listen along with it as well. And Gary, you had an interesting interview today on the radio.
We spoke with Ginger Lewis, Virginia Lewis. Her story has been published recently in the Tulsa World about living with sexual abuse, and this was from her father, who was a prominent attorney in Tulsa. From the age of 11 to 16, she was abused, she said, pretty much on a daily basis. Gosh, I was really deeply touched by her being willing to come out and share what is essentially kind of a horror story. But she is strong and determined, and I was really impressed by her strength in coming to talk with Darren DeLon and I during the program.
What brought you to get this interview?
We had seen her story in the world, and then we saw that the Family Violence Program and the other family support program were bringing her here for I don't know, what would you call it, a seminar or something like that, a special program where she would be sharing her story to the assembled folks who were interested in hearing. We thought that was an excellent way to sort of wrap up our focus on sexual assault and sexual abuse, for the past month. The fact that she was from Tulsa localized it for us, and she could give us kind of an inside look at what it was like in living in what is a privileged family and the horrors of being abused by her father. I was just amazed and angered at the same time, and hearing her story. She felt so strongly about wanting to find a way to correct a situation that she had to face. Now, when the issue came to light, it was beyond the statute of limitations, where she could have filed criminal charges or taken some other action. So essentially, her father got off with years of abuse without any penalties whatsoever. As we began to prepare for the story yesterday, we noticed a new article in the Tulsa World where her father had resigned from the Oklahoma Bar Association.
Oh, wow.
His career is essentially over as far as being a legal attorney. And I was thinking, for myself, I thought, well, geez, that's not enough. I mean, he should be having to pay. But what Ginger did was give us an idea of what she was up against in that struggle. She had worked, first admitted this problem, this situation to her mother, who immediately contacted a therapist. And they worked together to try and bring her some sort of relief or things like that. When it got to a point where they were considering legal action, Ginger said they went to the local authorities and the state authorities to look up this file of complaints against her father. The file was in place, but it was empty. influence. I mean, somebody had some powerful friends in the legal world there, whether it was another attorney or a clerk or a judge or the police or whoever, but they all were working against the victim in this case.
Now, she'll be here on the complex tomorrow, is that right?
Yes. Her presentation, I believe, is at the Dome, I believe, is it? From afternoon from about 2 to 6, I believe, something like 2 to 3:30 at least. She'll be sharing that. Be going over the same story that she shared with us, but also offering whatever help and connection she can for people who may be going through the situation, or perhaps identify those red flags that someone else might be going through and seeing in a relationship like that. But for me, it showed me that this problem can occur anywhere with anybody. When you hear something like that, you may think perhaps a lower economic scale or something like that, but this was, the top of Tulsa society, so to speak. This man was a powerful attorney, had all kinds of strong connections to the legal world and legislation, legislators, or something of the ruling class, if you want to call it. And it turns out that somehow that situation was working against her efforts. Now, she had introduced a bill in the legislature to change the statute of limitations from 12 to 18 years, and with eventual hopes of eliminating the statute of limitations altogether. She was saying it would be like homicide. There is no statute of limitations on that crime. And what she'd gone through for years was every bit as horrendous as a homicide. Her bill made it through the House with some support, but then got killed in the Senate. I believe the Judiciary Committee. They wouldn't even deal with it, so it makes you wonder what those legislators were thinking when they pretty much rejected any discussion, any presentation of looking at the bill with hopes of moving it onto the floor for a vote. So it was nice for her to share that, and then she said she is determined to go back again. And I think through the exposure that we can help her case, the sunlight being shined on this issue, may garner enough support for that law to be changed. It's archaic of Oklahoma to be in a situation when other states have recognized the horrible crime that's there, and hopefully she'll have enough support and success or pressure or whatever we need to have that passed through the legislature, through the state legislation. So we're hoping that she's going to win that one.
And when will that be up on the Muskogee Radio YouTube channel?
We're hoping to get it up within the next few days. We've got a minor backlog of getting that material. First, we have to get it from the station, which could necessitate a day or two delay. But we're going to work to try and get as much as we can to get up to speed with placing this material on the YouTube. It's a story I think everyone should be listening to. Now, this isn't some far-off case on the east or west coast. It's right here in our own community, and dealing with a powerful, rigid structure that she had to fight, and so far has not been completely successful in getting the laws changed. We're hoping that we can share that as quickly as we can. We'll be putting, of course, the notice out. We do have subscribers who would be getting a notice also. But until we get up to speed with our computer programming and things like that and how to build this thing correctly, we're going to take a slight delay, but I want it to be there as soon as possible.
Well, keep an eye out for our coverage, not only with Muskogee Radio, but I believe the Muskogee Nation News will be covering that event as well. So keep an eye out on the website, MuskogeeMedia.com. One more thing before we tune out for today. Jared had an update about our segment Indian Time.
Well, we just wanted to let the audience know that, the number of views that we're getting is kind of low on Indian Time. And the 3:30 time segment slot is kind of hard for people to get. So we are going through a process where we're going to try to do some more promotion for Indian Time, but if we can't, through our various promotion outlets, get the number of views up, we might just be dropping Indian Time or moving Indian Time to a different time slot. I don't know how we're going to work that out. But so in about 2 weeks, we're going to start looking at our views heavily and trying to weigh a decision if we want to stop doing Indian Time. We'll still have the capability to do live streaming, and we're going to live stream live updates and things like that, like our festival stream is still going to happen. We just won't do it every day at 3:30 like we've been doing, because right now we've got one other person besides us watching it, and we can't justify the man hours and everything to do it every day if we're not going to have a high number of views. So that's the situation. We're just giving the audience a heads up to say, hey, and if you're watching Indian Time right now, or you're watching Indian Time after the fact and you want Indian Time to stay, send us a message on Facebook, send us an email to jmoore@MuskogeeMedia.com. Say, hey, don't take away Indian Time, keep Indian Time going, because that's where we're at right now. Is the views, we don't have them, if we get enough support, if a couple of squeaky cogs want to get more oil, we can give them the oil, but we need to see some type of result from it. Otherwise, we're going to have to, reassess the program. So.
Right. Well, we'll keep you up to date on that and let you know what we decide to do with this segment. As always, keep an eye on our website, MuskogeeMedia.com, for videos, for news coverage of everything happening here at the Muskogee Creek Nation. Also, follow us on our social media platforms, the Muskogee Nation News and Native News Today, and Muskogee Media on Facebook, Muskogee Media on Instagram, and then Native News Today and the Muskogee Nation News on Twitter. Until tomorrow, this has been Jessica McBride,
Gary Fife,
Mado.